Welcome to Dr.MaryOz's Radical Change Now radio program. Today you will learn how to combine healing and the law of attraction to better your own life in mere weeks. Join us on our journey, which starts right now. Here's your host, Dr. Mary Oz.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Radical Change Now, where we care about your healing, transformation, and any radical change that you're interested in receiving. And on our show, we only have very powerful guests and healers and energy workers and coaches who are already helping people in profound ways. So I would like to welcome Vince Kramer to the call today. Welcome, Vince.
Thank you, Mary. It's so good to be here, and I can't wait to share some stuff with your audience today.
Thank you. Thank you for saying yes to the interview, and thank you for being willing to share the powerful information you have to share with us.
And thanks for having me here.
Yeah. So Vince Kramer is often called the King of the Awakened Heart, and he's here today. He's the author of Miracle Life and Create Formula, which he's going to tell us about. And he's here today to help us get off autopilot in our life and for us to stop living by other people's rules so that we can start living our life our way. He's here today to help us find more meaning and passion and purpose and to take a quantum leap towards living our miracle life through self-discovery and empowerment. Would you agree with all that, Vince?
I agree with it 100%, and I can't wait to get started.
So what I'd like to do first is just really share with our audience my impression of you. We only met about 9 months ago, and we met in a mastermind. And, you know, one of the things I love about you, Vince, is that you have this sense of strength about you, the way you carry yourself, but you also carry strength and calmness at the same time. And I notice that whenever I'm having a conversation with you, you also have like a big presence. You know, like you're very present to the person that's speaking. And in my world, you wrap all that up in like a big heart because you have a lot of heart, a lot of love. And you really radiate to people that you care. So that's my impression of having met you on a mastermind.
I am so excited that we're on the radio because I am blushing right now. Thank you for that.
And of course, I've had the privilege of meeting Mary as well, your lovely wife. And I believe you're going to talk to us about Imagine Miracles, which is a company and a business that you and Mary work on together.
You bet. Let me start off with our mission. Our mission is to inspire and empower people to discover and create and then live the life that they're meant to live. You know, we live in a world right now that is so full of chaos and so, let me say, just kind of irritating at times on the way things are going and how life just seems to be flowing in different directions, especially in the political world and all the things that are going on with the differences in people and the way others are looking at other people. So, it's really important right now that we believe that it's so essential for everyone to live their unique purpose, because in doing that and by sharing their individual genius with the world, we're actually going to be able to turn the world around and really bring heaven to earth.
I love that. Turn the world around. I definitely think we need some turning around. I agree with you.
You know, we're about self-discovery, Mary, and empowerment. So we teach people to find themselves, and in finding themselves, then find their own answers on the inside to some of the difficult questions in life. In our Discover Your Miracle Life program, it's all about finding the answers to where am I in this moment? Who am I? What do I have to offer? How do I live on purpose? You know, those are the important questions, and I put it together in what I call the unique purpose formula, and that formula really kind of lays out the groundwork and steps in a roadmap type fashion to help people find those answers. We live in a world of fear, divisiveness, and anger right now, but we can create our own realities, and we do create our own realities constantly. So we can change the world that we live in, and that's what really excites Mary and I as we bring things forward. It might seem selfish to everyone, but I want to live in a world where we look out for each other, we're supporting each other. Joy is the predominant emotion instead of fear. And it really depends on us knowing and living our purpose and not pursuing, but allowing ourselves to have a passionate life. And I know passion and purpose seems to just be a buzzword and kind of goes by the wayside now, but really passion and purpose is what it's all about. And when we start finding it in ourselves and sharing it with the world, that's when we're going to turn the world around, Mary.
Yeah, I love that, because I find that not everybody would actually think about, what would it take to have a passionate, purpose-driven life? Like, I think it takes a certain kind of person to really invest in that and think about that. And yet it's so powerful if we could get more people to be interested in that. And I think what I hear you saying, Vince, is that my language would be, if you really want to be happier and healthier, you have to really look at a passion, find a passion, develop it, but know your purpose at the same time.
Exactly. And unfortunately, so many of us believe that we can't do that, or we're stuck in a world where we believe that this is all that there is. So that's why we created Imagine Miracles. It started way back in 2007 for me. I was actually ready to start a self-help human potential company, and I put together a group of people to do that, and Imagine Miracles popped up. But unfortunately, the group didn't work out and ended up disbanding. But Imagine Miracles, that little flame was lit inside of me, and it was burning all along. So when I got together with Mary and we really started our current work that we're in right now, Imagine Miracles was truly a phoenix. It just rose up out of the ashes, and it took shape and took form fairly quickly, and it's actually pulling us along. And when I explain what Imagine Miracles means, I think the audience will really understand and really feel what I'm feeling, because Imagine Miracles is the thing that pulls me, and that's what we hope that happens throughout the world. We're pulling people along and helping them and assisting them in finding their passion and purpose and really living that life that they were meant to live.
So it's kind of like believing in miracles, trusting in miracles, and imagining and using visualization. All of those things have a force or energy of its own. Because I love how you said it's pulling you guys along, right?
You bet.
Yeah.
As Imagine to us is, we create with thought and feeling, like I said earlier, and imagination is that visualization, like you said, but it's with feeling or emotion. It takes both that thought and the feeling to create, to really connect with the universe, to put our order out there, I guess is one way to say it. So we use guided meditation work in all of our programs to help and teach our clients to create and manifest that life that they desire and dream. So that's what Imagine is. And then Miracles, reading the Course in Miracles, there's a lot of references to a miracle as an expression of love, and that's really nails it down for me. I really can't think of a greater expression of love than sharing your unique gifts and talents so others can share theirs. So when we bring Imagine Miracles together, it's really creating your life on purpose with thought and feeling so you can express your love by sharing your unique gifts and talents. And that's what Imagine Miracles is all about, and that's what Mary is all about, and that's what I'm all about. It's our birthright to create the life that we deserve. It's everyone's birthright. And when we live on purpose, we're actually living that birthright.
And yet it takes time and energy. right?
Yes, it
takes
does.
time, energy, commitment. Sometimes we have to commit resources to that. I'm just listening to your answers, and I feel like you're just confirming my introduction to you. So like you and Mary as a couple, just very loving. You guys also own a retreat center in Colorado, which says that you really care about people taking a break, taking a rest, growing, personal self-development. And when I listen to you speak, I feel relief, Vince, because I'm like, wow, here's a guy who wants to help people improve their lives, along with Mary, your wife. And you guys get that people sometimes need help feeling positive feelings, right? Because you're talking about it's not just the thoughts, but it's this feeling of love that we want to spread to the world to help change the world. And it sounds like that's a big part of what you're promoting.
You bet. When you put the vibration out into the universe to attract back, you said two very important things there. First of all, the vibration of you has to be coherent. So the vibration of your thought has to be coherent with the vibration of your emotion. If they're not the same vibration, then you're not going to attract exactly what it is that you want to attract into your life. And it also, if you look at the law of attraction, and your work on the law of attraction is just amazing, but we seem to forget sometimes that the last 6 letters of law of attraction is action. So it does take action to make sure that you're really attracting into your life what you want, and when that message comes in, you follow the message to where you want to go. But it always wasn't that way for me. As you know, I'm an airline pilot, an engineer, an athlete, and here I am talking about expressing your love by sharing your gifts and talents.
Well, I do want to say, Vince, that ever since I've met you, and this is really true because I fly a lot, but I feel safer in the skies knowing that you're a pilot. And if I were to fly on your airline, that I might get you at a pilot. Because you, like I said, you really do have this air about you that I think makes people feel comfortable and confident. So I just want to let you know, I think the airways are safer just because you're a pilot.
Well, thank you very much. And I hope the audience just sticks their head in any United Airbus cockpit and looks to see if Vince Kramer's in there, because I would like to meet each and every one of you. So
that would be cool.
That's an offer to me.
Okay.
So, one of the things that's happened in my lifetime, Mary, is I've realized that I'm a very lucky individual. I've got to live 2 passions, and I'm definitely living on purpose with both. So being an airline pilot, I knew as a young man that I wanted to be an airline pilot. And when I say young, like 5 years old, watching airplanes fly over. And I also knew that I wanted to help people love themselves so that they could love others too. So it was very interesting, but like most of us, about 7 years old is when all the rules started kicking in. I started learning from the influential men in my life what it meant to be a man. So I learned all the lessons, and I'll say my grandfather was the most vocal about it. Actually, it was really overpowering, but as I've done my work, he's vocal now instead of the overpowering, overbearing man that I used to seem. But he taught me rules like big boy cry and only the strong survive. You have to be the best at everything. You have to compete with everyone. And I learned very well. I was very successful, got my master's degree, a very successful military career. As I said, a commercial pilot. I've held director level position at a Fortune 100 company. And through all of that, something was missing. The great job, the big bank account, the beautiful house, the loving wife. Once again, something was always missing through that. And what I really figured out what was missing was me. And when I say it's important for people to find their purpose, it's really understanding that you have to find you because it's you that you're meant to bring to this world. But I had some really big wake-up calls, and I actually call them crisis wake-ups. 9/11 was a big one for me. I lost a friend on Flight 93, and I actually flew that airplane a week, not that airplane, but that flight a week earlier. And, I just pressed on. I learned the rules from Grandpa. And then United Airlines went bankrupt, and I really lost my belief in what it was to work hard and be loyal. And through all of that, the pay cuts I took and the job changes that came with it, I once again just picked up the pieces, bought a business because I was supposed to take care of my family. I was supposed to build a retirement. But I still didn't wake up. And then that third wake-up call came to me, and that's when my wife of 21 years, Martha, I came home one day and she was just crying hysterically. She said she was unhappy and didn't want to be married anymore. And that's what really woke me up to the fact that, there's something missing in my life, and I have got to find out what it was. And thanks to Jack Canfield and his Breakthrough to Success week, I found what was missing, and it was me. And at that point, that's when I really started putting my work together to take self-help out into the world. And thank goodness Mary came into my life, because she opened my eyes to spirituality in a very empowering way. And I started putting science and spirituality together to start my journey of self-discovery and empowerment. And that's why I'm in front of you here today, because my purpose is to share that with people. And thanks to people like Jack Canfield, Joe Dispenza, Debbie Ford, John Maxwell, a lot of the mentors in my life where I actually had the opportunity to work with them one-on-one in a lot of cases, I learned about the brain, about vibration, quantum physics, and I know that there is a genius in every single person in this world, and I want them to find their genius, and I want them to live on purpose.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I love the way you said all that. So, Vince, before we take a quick commercial break, I was wondering if you could share with us, because you're talking about something was missing and you had to find yourself. So who does Vince Kramer say Vince is?
Well, it's very interesting. So part of my work is really looking at your purpose in kind of three aspects: the quintessence of you, that real concentrated essence of you, the gift that you have to give the world, and the mission that you're here to live. And my quintessence, the essence that I believe I put out into the world, is just like you said, that gentle power. And I was given that gentle power, or I chose that gentle power when I came into this world, so I could truly be a guiding force and an influencing force to raise the vibration of the world up to the vibration of joy. So that's who I am. I'm pretty much what you said, Mary. I'm a walking heart.
Oh,
I love people. I love what I chose to come here to do and to share with people. And I've just been blessed with Mary in my life and people like you in my life that really help me see, when you're on purpose, how effective and how amazing you can be.
And what I love is that you knew it at age 5, right? You talked about at a really young age, feeling this calling to improve the world.
I knew it at 5, and it just kept eating at me along the way. And then, as I said, all of a sudden that awakening came, and it's just been great guns since then.
Awesome. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, I believe Vince is going to talk to us more about these wake-up calls and help you understand what a wake-up call is, and see if you're having some wake-up calls in your own life that you didn't recognize. And at the same time, I want to challenge our audience just to be really listening to Vince. And if you feel like something is missing in your life, or that you need to find you, that you need to find yourself, then Vince Kramer is the gentleman that you want to speak to. And he's generously shared a gift with us. And if you were to take a second during our commercial break and visit our gift page at Dr.MaryOz Gifts, G-I-F-T with an S, DrMaryOzGifts.com. Vince has a nice gift there for us today. But we're going to take a quick commercial break, but be sure to join us when we come back, because Vince has a lot more insights for us today.
Find out what makes the most successful people tick. Keep listening to the Voice America Empowerment Channel. VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com.
Dr. Mary Oz's Radical Change Coaching Program will help you set a healing foundation in your life and teach you how to manifest more of what you want. Are you ready to get the results and radical change you have been longing for too long? Very often our clients tell us that this is the most powerful coaching they have ever received. Come join us and start living life with more results, more love, more wealth, health, and peace, as well as inspiration. For more information, call Coach Sam at 1-833-447-CHANGE. Need help deciding if our Radical Change Coaching Program is right for you? Apply for a free strategy session with one of our coaches. Be prepared to dive deep and identify the areas in life in which you need healing and transformation. Together, we will clarify how to close the gap from where you are to where you want to be and discover what's possible now. How would it feel to get big changes in less than 30 days for you, your loved ones, and your business? Apply now by calling Coach Sam at 1-833-447-CHANGE or visit us at RadicalChangeNow.com.
Don't you just wish sometimes that life could come with a do-over button? We'd probably use it a lot more than we think. What if there was one do-over button you could use each week? Make that place the Voice America Empowerment Channel for Code to Grace, the Empowered Women's Guide to Life, with host Marilyn Mosier. Marilyn and her guests will help you find the key to break free from the chains of your life and start anew. Listen live every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time and 12 noon Pacific Time on Voice America Empowerment.
Follow us on Twitter for more great ideas at Voice America Empowerment.
You are listening to Radical Change Now with Dr. Mary Oz. If you'd like to participate in our discussion today, the phone lines are open. Reach us at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. Let's get back to Radical Change Now. Here again is Dr. Mary Oz.
So welcome back, everyone. We're here with Vince Kramer, the king of the awakened heart. And he was just telling us his own journey of his business, Imagine Miracles. And he was talking to us a little bit about a wake-up call or a few wake-up calls that happened to him. So Vince, tell us some more about wake-up calls and how would people know whether or not they're experiencing a wake-up call? What's your definition?
Okay. Well, in my teaching, Mary, I think it's very valuable to give the head something to work with and then give the heart something to work with. So I'll start with how the Merriam-Webster defines a wake-up. And in the dictionary defines it as something that serves to alert a person or to a problem, danger, or need. And I think we have wake-up calls all throughout our life to wake us up to who we really are and why we're here. So they start out small and subtle, and then they keep getting bigger until they get their attention. And I think there's two kinds of wake-up calls. At least in my teachings, I share two kinds: conscious wake-up and a crisis wake-up. So when we hear ourselves say things like, there's got to be more to life than this, or I want more meaning to my life, or I deserve better, I've done everything I'm supposed to do and I'm still not happy. These are the conscious wake-up calls I'm talking about. consciously you realize that there's got to be more to your life. You're being called or you're being pulled in a certain direction. It's kind of alerting you to your need to live that more fulfilled life, a life on purpose. And then the crisis wake-up calls are kind of like the things that I explained to you that I experienced. And I know that there were some conscious ones along the way before I started getting these bigger crisis wake-ups, but they're accidents that happen in our lives, illness, a death of a loved one, divorce, our own personal illnesses, something that drastically forces us to look at our life and then realize that you want more, first of all, you deserve more, second of all, but most importantly, you're being called to be more. So more meaning, really wanting to make a difference in your life.
I love that. Actually, can I tell a quick little story? Because I'm thinking of when did I have wake-up calls? And, I remember there was a time when I was what I call just a therapist. And I was literally dragged on a Tony Robbins event with my friend who said she needed to go. And I was out in the audience and I was listening to Tony Robbins. I'm a big fan of Tony Robbins. I was listening to Tony Robbins and I had 3 notebooks going. I had a notebook to improve my own life. I had a notebook to help friends and family. And I had a notebook for 2 clients in my practice that I was stuck with. And I was about 36 hours into the seminar and I realized, oh my gosh, I have just learned more about helping human beings and helping people in 36 hours. And at this point I was working on my PhD, than 10 years of schooling. And I just got hooked on, as a therapist, that's when I crossed over into the coaching world. And I was like, therapy is great and I love therapy and I still do therapy to this day. But the world of coaching was like this wake-up call of how can I help people quickly and get results that are life-lasting. So is that the kind of wake-up call that could be a conscious wake-up call?
Yes, very much conscious. And maybe, the interesting thing that, and we'll talk a little bit more about it next week, but one of the interesting things about purpose is we're living our purpose in everything we do pretty much from the day that we're born. And when you really find out what your purpose is and you define that gift and you define the divine intent that you came here with, you can look back and see that. But think of how wonderful and how amazing the coach you are because of the skills that you had from just being a therapist, as you put it. So along the way, you've been developing your gifts and talents to a place and to a point where you are affecting and making more of a difference in the world than you ever thought imaginable. Just look at the number of listeners you have on this program. What a reach you already have. So that's spectacular.
Yeah, and it's true, and it's interesting because I never would have thought of that as a wake-up call, right? So I like having you come on the show and having this conversation with you. I mean, I always thought of fond memories of those moments, and I guess I would think of it as a wow moment, but it really is also a wake-up call because that's what led me to go to coaching and have a second company. And it's the coaching company that brings radical change now and why you and I are here on the radio show.
You bet. And, one of the things that I want to share, wake-up calls doesn't necessarily have to be something negative. It can be something very positive. One of my biggest wake-up calls, as I shared, it was my wake-up into spirituality and the understanding of how there was no real separation from anything, but especially no separation from spirituality and science. And that was when Mary came into my life. And that was an amazing and a very abrupt wake-up call for me.
So maybe we could just ask our audience to take a second right now and think about, what in their life has either been a conscious wake-up or a crisis wake-up. Just to give them a second to kind of scan their memories. Is it an experience? Is it something your spouse taught you? Is it a spiritual wake-up? Is it a relationship wake-up? Is it a crisis job-related? And then really to take a moment, right, Vince, and appreciate that wake-up calls, they serve us. They serve us in a big way. Do you have some thoughts on why we have these wake-up calls? And what happens if we don't respond to them?
Well, the interesting thing is, like I said earlier, these wake-up calls are just to get our attention and show us that it's time to start living the life that we were meant to live. When I mentioned earlier divine intent, we came into this world with a mission, and that mission, we've been developing our talents and gifts up to a point where it's really ready to turn on and open ourselves up to the world, and I think that's what the wake-up calls are all about. But like I said, when we don't answer them, they just get a little stronger. They might start out subtle and then get bigger and bigger until we notice what's going on. I can share a story, if you don't mind, about a client of mine.
Sure.
He's actually a very good friend, and I was coaching him on pursuing his passion to build a coaching business. And what we found out that the calendar, the months were just rolling by, and there's always seemed to be all these outside distractions for him that he just wasn't able to seem to say no to, and he wasn't really making any progress in the business, and he was actually getting down on the business, believing that it just wasn't meant to be. And along the way, there was some little wake-up calls, like he wasn't able to sign a few clients because he wasn't ready to turn on his program, and he lost a pretty big contract because he just wasn't available on the dates that they want him to be. And it just kept rolling on and on like that, Mary. And then he broke his leg. And I really believe that was his crisis wake-up call, because he realized that, if I want to get this done, I got to do it right now. And the universe provided him an opportunity where he couldn't rush to any meetings. He shouldn't be attending. He didn't, and in that moment in the emergency room, he decided that he was going to put his program together, and he put it together in 6 weeks, and he's been going full force from that point on, really providing the world with transition coaching.
Wow. I love that. Yeah, it's funny how life works that way sometimes. And again, you mentioned a word earlier in the show too, is the word allow, right? We can resist something like breaking our leg and get mad and angry, or, working with you, he was able to recognize, this is the wake-up call, that one of the wake-up calls that Vince is talking about, and then the key word being he allowed the lesson to come, right? He allowed himself to wake up and say, now I'm going to take those actions that you talked about before and get this program done. But he had to allow it.
Exactly. So, allowing, he had the belief that he could do it. He allowed it to happen, took action on it, and bingo. I've got a little acronym that we really don't have time to share today, but maybe I'll put it out in a post on your website or your Facebook page on my little acronym on really awesome. How to get things moving along.
Awesome. We would love that. So now, you also talked earlier in the show about living by other people's rules. What do you mean by that?
Well, as you know, as a therapist, and I'm sure most of the audience knows, that it really comes down to our belief system on how we create our lives. It's all our perceptions of the circumstances around us have to do with that belief system. And that they're really our set of rules. We started forming our beliefs about the time we were 2 years old, and actually many of them were formed by the time we were 2 years old, and most of them by the time we're 7. So we're putting together a belief system before our reasoning part of our brain really didn't even start to develop, which starts around the 7 or 8-year-old time frame. So before that, we're just kind of like a sponge soaking up all the beliefs of those people around us. And then we, as parents know, and I don't think too many of us can remember back to the place where we were 2 years old, but at 2 years old, we're the center of our own universe. So everything that happens around us happens because of us, right? And we look at the responses and reactions from those people around us when we want them to fill our basic needs of wanting to be loved or saved or fed. And any of our actions that create something negative in someone, we believe that there's something wrong with us. And any of the things that get the reaction that we want from people, we believe that that's the way we're supposed to live life. And now we put this great belief system together that was formed just so we could be safe, that we could be loved, that we could be fed. But somebody forgot to tell us that these beliefs aren't real. And they didn't tell us that we can choose to reframe the ones that don't empower us and to really embrace the ones that do empower us. So that's when I'm talking about other people's rules, and that's where a lot of my work goes into, finding those beliefs, finding those things that you don't think are good about you, the things that, as Carl Jung calls them, are shadows, and really pulling them up and finding the gift in them, and then changing our belief system to one that empowers us, takes us to the place that we really want to be. And we all have kind of collectively some main beliefs that are very detrimental to us. We believe we're not worthy. We believe we're not lovable. We believe we're not good enough. And a lot of that comes into how we deal in our day-to-day lives, and we deal with our relationships, and even moving forward in living that divine intent.
Absolutely. I love what you said. Yeah, like we get caught up in thinking we're supposed to live a certain way. And again, this is where someone like yourself is available for people to kind of help them sit down and say, how are you living by other people's rules and living what's expected of you versus the life you were meant to live that brings you health and happiness, a purpose, passion, and dreams. And, you talk a lot in your program, Vince, about the answers are within. And as you know, at Radical Change Now, we teach Ho'oponopono. And Ho'oponopono healing is really when you offer up these 4 sentences, I love you, I thank you, please forgive me, I'm sorry. And really you're turning inward to heal first. And it's like, let me heal any negative energy, any negative thoughts, or any old data that I have from when I was growing up, at any age, that I might not even be aware of, that's in there unconsciously. And just by going inward and Ho'oponoponoing and saying the 4 sentences, we teach people to heal first before you do anything else. You want to heal from within. So it sounds like you do a similar thing where the answers are within. Everything you really need to know and believe is within.
You bet. And forgiveness is one of the most powerful things to empower yourself, because forgiveness isn't about other people. It is truly about you, forgiving yourself for allowing that to affect who you really are. And by releasing that other person or that circumstance, you're not saying it's right. You're not saying you believe in that person or how that person feels. You're saying that I no longer want it to affect my life, and I'm ready to release it and let it go.
Love it. Love it. So we're going to take another quick commercial break, and be sure to come back, and Vince and I will sum up our call today, and he's got a gift for you at Dr.MaryOz, freegifts.com. So during the break, you might want to go directly to that site, download his free gift. It's powerful. It's amazing. I've checked it out myself. Quick commercial break, and we'll be back in a few.
Live up to your fullest potential. This is the Voice America Empowerment Channel.
Dr. MaryOz's Radical Change Coaching Program will help you set a healing foundation in your life and teach you how to manifest more of what you want. Are you ready to get the results and radical change you have been longing for too long? Very often our clients tell us that this is the most powerful coaching they have ever received. Come join us and start living life with more results, more love, more wealth, health, and peace, as well as inspiration. For more information, call Coach Sam at 1-833-447-CHANGE. Need help deciding if our Radical Change Coaching Program is right for you? Apply for a free strategy session with one of our coaches. Be prepared to dive deep and identify the areas in life in which you need healing and transformation. Together, we will clarify how to close the gap from where you are to where you want to be and discover what's possible now. How would it feel to get big changes in less than 30 days for you, your loved ones, and your business? Apply now by calling Coach Sam at 1-833-447-CHANGE or visit us at radicalchangenow.com.
Life can be confusing at times. There can be uncertainty, disappointment, and an inability to clearly see where you're headed. But it doesn't have to be this way at all if you understand how to take the next step in your life. Tune in to Living the Miracle with your hosts Michael and Raphael Tamura. We'll help you to find the deeper meaning that awaits you in your life, have certainty in yourself, and learn to be clairvoyant. Listen Wednesdays at 11 a.m. Pacific Time, 2 p.m. Eastern on Voice America Empowerment.
Friend us on Facebook to keep up with what's empowering the world. Voice America Empowerment.
You are listening to Radical Change Now with Dr. Mary Oz. If you'd like to participate in our discussion today, the phone lines are open. Reach us at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. Let's get back to Radical Change Now. Here again is Dr. Mary Oz.
So we're here with Vince Kramer, and we're talking about if you need to find yourself, if you're looking for more purpose in your life, if you're looking for more meaning or passion. Vince is sharing some incredible insight with us. And one of the things I wanted to ask you, Vince, was what does it actually mean to live on purpose?
Well, living on purpose means you're doing something consciously. You're aware of what it is that you're doing. So I like to use the play on words. So when I say live on purpose, I'm really meaning living your purpose on purpose. So living your purpose consciously, because that's where you're really going to bring that unique genius, that unique purpose out into the world and bring your unique gifts and the unique combination of gifts that you have that no one else in the world has. Everybody has similar missions. Everybody has things that they're good at, things that they really enjoy doing. But when it comes to bringing that whole combination together, there is no one in the world. In the over 7 billion people in the world, there is no one in the world exactly like you. So that means if you don't bring your purpose to the world, the world's missing that piece, that part. It's kind of like a unique puzzle, Mary, where every one of us is a puzzle piece that has to fit in that puzzle just perfectly so we can make it possible for others to fit in the puzzle. And really, as I said earlier, and I really like this term, and it's definitely not mine, to bring heaven on earth.
Beautiful. You know, it's also bring heaven to earth, on earth, and you keep sharing about really changing the world. And it's funny how there's no coincidences, because I just had my office redone, and one of the plaques that Coach Sam picked up for us was a plaque that says, I just love this saying, it makes me chuckle every morning. Today feels like a good day to change the world. And I feel like that's kind of a summary of what you're talking about.
You bet. And that is no lie. Every day is the perfect day to start changing the world. And where does it start? On the inside.
Yes.
It's really starts with learning to love ourselves so we can love others, learning to respect ourselves so we can respect others, really taking that puzzle piece that we've made look all the same because marketing's told us what we should do or society's told us who we should be, and really finding that flame inside of us and really making the change. it's making our life the way that we inherently know, that we intuitively know, where that our higher self, or whatever you want to call that part of you that's in touch with everything, knows we're supposed to be, and that's when we start stepping out into the world. That's the picture that we want to co-create in the world right now, because the one that we've co-created up to this point isn't as appealing as we'd like it to be.
Yes, I agree. So we're definitely hearing from you that living on purpose is important, and yet I know both in my coaching and counseling practice, people struggle with this though, right? People find it hard to find their purpose at time. Why do you think that's so?
Part of it is because we've learned that the outside knows better than we do. When we came into this world, we were pretty smart, and we really probably had our stuff together more than we do right now, because what we learned what life was supposed to be like, and what we learned what we were supposed to be doing, or how we should be dealing with people, all came from the experiences of the people around us. And the interesting thing for me is I know that each and every person has the answers to their unique questions. And others might have answers, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're answers that will work for you. And we just really don't know how to find them. So we do a lot of interior work. We do a lot of touching base with what Tim Kelly calls trusted source. We do a lot of work with touching base with the ego, because becoming a partner with the ego and bringing your answers in from trusted source really takes you to the place where you're not only learning what you're here to be and to share with the world, but you're also kind of partnering with the one thing that can help you create that in your life, and that's the ego. So we don't want to do away with the ego. We don't want to push the ego aside. We want to learn to be partners with it, and I think that's where we really start finding the answers, when we start touching base with those two things that are really part of the triad of us.
Awesome. So if it's okay with you, Vince, I love to give back. I feel like by coming on the show, it serves me, it serves you, it serves the people that are listening. But, I feel like there's this powerful way that Radical Change Now could give back to you. And I know in my groups, when we lead groups, like we often ask people, when it comes to your business, right? So when it comes to Imagine Miracles, what are you looking to manifest? And if you could be, do, or have anything you wanted when it comes to Imagine Miracles, just by answering that question out loud in front of a large audience drives a big, huge vibration your way. So how would you answer that question?
Well, that's an interesting question to throw my way. First of all, we want to make a difference in the world and a difference in people's lives. We want to attract those people who have had those wake-up calls and provide them some understanding and some relief in really getting why the wake-up calls came, and then help them find themselves, help them find their answers. Our self-help program, if you want to call it a self-help program, is helping you help yourself. It's not us telling you, well, this is what worked for us, so it's going to work for you. We want to bring people in who are ready to move beyond that wake-up call into their true genius, into their true purpose, and share themselves with the world. So I would say in the long scope of things, Mary, this is about community. And we already have an arm of Imagine Miracles called Imagination Miracles, nation being the community.
Oh, I love that.
And it's a place where, as I shared with you so many times today in our short time together, where you can share your gifts and talents in a way that allows other people to share theirs. And that's what imagination is all about. How can we share our gifts and help those others share theirs and give them opportunities to help us by sharing their gifts with us? So in the long, big scheme of things, we want to attract those people, the like-minded, like-hearted people who are ready to bring heaven on earth and to share their gifts in a way that others can share theirs also.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And speaking of gifts and sharing, you have a gift for our listeners, and I know it has to do with the Miracle Life Blueprint, and I believe it has to do with 6 steps. And I also think it's based on your CREATE model, which you talked about earlier in the show. Can you tell us about your free gift?
You bet. When I told you that for the last 8 years I was learning from some very powerful mentors, I read hundreds of books, I did my work, which is the most important part of all of it, and through that I came up with a formula, if you will, or like you said, a 6-step model that really helps walk you through creating the miracle life that is yours, the miracle life that you are meant to live, the miracle life that you deserve, and the miracle life of your desires. So the CREATE model and the Miracle Life Blueprint that I'm going to give anyone who's interested in downloading it is based on, like I said, the CREATE model. The C is becoming conscious of who you are right now, who you were meant to be, really getting in touch with the you of you, the big Y-O-U, if you will. And then into reframing any beliefs that you've uncovered that aren't empowering you, and really building that belief system and that set of rules that lead you to living your miracle life, embracing who you are, not trying to be what you think somebody else wants you to be, not being who you think people want to see in the world, but really being you and embracing that. I'm big into quantum physics, understanding the energy of you, understanding how you create. So the A is attune. It teaches you how to bring your frequency to a higher level so you can actually not only create, but manifest and then materialize those things that you want in your life. And then the T is transform. I teach you some very, very powerful techniques on truly bringing things into your life, using imagination, using the visualization with emotion, and some guided meditations that really are powerful to help you create your life. And then the final E is empower. To keep nurturing and building your talents and gifts, and keep learning who you are, and surround yourself with that community, those like-minded, like-hearted people that support you in your growth, in what you will do the same for them and supporting them in their growth. So that's what it's all about.
Awesome. And that would definitely make a difference in the world. We definitely need much more of that. So I want to thank you, Vince. Thank you for being on the show today. Thank you for sharing such a heartfelt dream and a heartfelt company. And we're excited to let our listeners know that you'll be joining us again next week. But thank you for today.
Thank you, Mary. We'll see you next week.
Okay. So to our listeners, be sure to join us next week as Vince Kramer, the King of the Awakened Heart, will be back with us. And he'll be talking to us on finding the you in purpose. And in the meantime, have an awesome week. Enjoy yourselves, and we will see you next week when you tune back in with us.
Thank you for tuning in this week for Radical Change Now. Be sure to join Dr. MaryOz again next Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Time and 1 p.m. Eastern Time on the Voice America Empowerment Channel. Until then, have the best week of your life.